In the name of God of Jacob should support you. Yishlan is a Hamid She should send help from the Kodesh, the holy chamber, the base of Mikdash. Yizkar Kol Min Chosecha, you should recall your flour offerings, matzahs, Oylasecha, your burnt offerings, Oylasecha, Yadashna Sela, they should be accepted graciously. Yichen Lachav Avecha, he should grant your heart's requests. Your good resolutions, you should be able to fulfill them. And we will rejoice in your salvation. We will raise the banner of Hashem on high. Hashem will fulfill all your heart's requests. Now I know. Hashem saves his anointed one. Answering him from his highest heavens, with might, Yesha, salvation, Yamine from his right hand, some with chariots, they come, some with cavalry, some with the modern versions of the same. We come with the name of God on our lips, and the iron dome, and our brave soldiers, and the merit of our people. They stumbled and fell. When they say that, we stood up 3,500 years ago and we're still standing. Tanya, in chapter 8. We've been learning about how the klippa holds on till someone gets its clutches on someone because they buy into his lies and his selfish philosophy, and then he does it. Ha, now you belong to me. He doesn't want to let you go. Unless a person does tshuva, and therefore on page 122, we saw that where Bali Tshuva stand, even the righteous cannot stand because they didn't go there. And the Baal Tshuva had went there and came back. When does he have the power to bring back the energy that was placed in bad places? That's called tshuva out of love. When a person desires with his or her heart to be connected to Hashem. And then transgressions become transformed into mitzvahs, into virtues, because they motivate him to do better and better. Page 123. Aval, however, teshuva shalei me'ava, if the person does tshuva without this kind of motivation, without this love, this desire to be connected, attached to Hashem, even though he's sincere, but he doesn't have the love. He means it. Hashem yislach loy, Hashem will certainly forgive him. Mikol mokem le naaseh le kazachiyos. His transgressions do not become transformed into virtues. And they do not go up from the clutches of the dark side, Lagamri, entirely, ad es kates, until the end of all time. What's going to be in the end of time? The whole world is going to be a ski slope. What's going to be? Yevula hamavas lenetzach. Death, there will be no more Yetzer Hara. No more Yetzer Hara. No more negative side of the ledger. Therefore, only life, only good. Yevula hamavas lenetzach. That means that death will be swallowed up forever. There will be no more Yetzer Hara. So that's why the Yetzer Hara tries very hard, because he's fighting for his existence. Page 123, to bottom. However, Here we go into Kabbalah, okay? What happens if a person actually was involved in intimacy that's not allowed by the Torah? So there's an energy that creates the drops, the creative drops from which life comes. And this energy becomes absorbed in the Shalish Klippus Tameus. Harizu Oilan Misham B'Teshuva Nachayna. This can be redeemed with tshuva, the kavana with kavana atzuma, with intense concentration. The kriyishma shalamita. This is a secret, especially during times before you go to sleep, when the world is quiet and a person contemplates his or her life and does a very, very intense tshuva desire to do the right thing and the good thing. As our sages revealed to us, that can redeem the energy even from these drops, seminal drops that went to the wrong place. This is hinted at in the Gemara, page 124. Hakoira Kriyishma al mitase, where it says there, when a person says Kriyishma at bedtime before going to sleep, Ki'ilu oiches cherev shal shtei piyes. It's as if he's holding a two-edged sword. It cuts two ways. What does that mean? Laharoi gufes hachitzonim. When a person does something wrong, so he or she creates a spiritual entity of klippa. And he presents the klippas with this dish. Remember the story I told you about the guy who used to fast all week and have a drink of milk before Shabbos? Remember the story? And you heard laughing, the walls were laughing. There were voices in the walls that were laughing. He didn't know what it was. And he went to the Baal Shem Tov, maybe it was Baal Shem Tov, maybe it wasn't the Baal Shem Tov, but he went to somebody who was a mystic, and he revealed to him, he asked him about his life and what he did and so on. And he told him he fasted, he spent his whole week davening and learning, and Erev Shabbos, he'd have a glass of milk. And the last several weeks, the glass of milk got spilled. Each week in a different way. And each week he got upset because he was looking forward to breaking his fast with this glass of milk. So the Baal Shem Tov said, well, you should know that every time you got upset, you just delivered a whole big Suda to the klippas, because all your merits of fasting and davening and praying were delivered to the Yetzer Hara when you got angry, because anger is a Vaidazar. Anger, when a person's angry, he's what he's really saying, Stephanie, is I don't believe in God. If a person believes in God, how you get angry? Is there a different God who's making this unfortunate circumstance happen to you? If you believe in a different God, that's called idol worship. So when a person gets angry, it's like idol worship. So every time you get angry, all the virtues that he achieved during the week through his holy work, his devotion to Hashem, that all made a beautiful Suda for the Yetzer Hara. And that's why they were laughing, because they tricked him again and tricked him again. And then they got a delicious meal out of it, a holy meal. So how do you get rid of those, when he calls them here in Hebrew, in English, extraneous forces? In Hebrew, the word is chetzonim. We know, panimius Torah. Panimius is the inner aspect of the Torah. That's panim from the word panim, which means the front. And then there's the back. The back is the chitzonim. Hasidim like to say that from the panimius, you see so many things. From a person's eyes, from his smile, you see how young he is, how old he is. You see a lot of life experience on his face. From the back, all you see is one thing. Don't see anything. When you walk behind somebody on the street, you don't know who they are. You don't know how old they are. You don't know what color they are. You don't know if their face is kind, gentle, or it's cruel. Is it beautiful? Is it nasty? You don't know anything. You think somebody may be young and they turn out to be 75 or even 80. You don't see anything, only from the face. So the word for the back is achorayim, that means achor, after the back, or chitzonius, which is outside. Chitzonius is outside, something superficial. Superficial. So they translate it as extraneous. I guess the root is extra. It's not pneumius. Pneumius is inner, and chitzonius is extra, from the outside, superficial outside. So when a person does a transgression, he makes a spiritual creation with forces that are superficial, external, not internal life forces, but external, non-life forces. And these become garments. These forces become garments for the energy that's in the drops of semen that ended up in the wrong place. And when a person says Kriya Shema Alamita with really from the depths of his heart wants to be a better person, and it's very hard because you're tired. Take it from me. You're very tired. You just want to hit that pillow, put the head on the pillow, and go to sleep. But if you can push through and really say, I'm not here to fall asleep, I'm here to return to Hashem, and you draw on deeper powers in your heart, that can slay the garments with a two-edged sword. That's a two-edged sword. That's what it says. And that's, now he gives you something very interesting, fascinating, that when it lists all the different sins that a person could do, the sin of wasteful emission of semen is not mentioned in the Torah. It says about all the different intimacies that a person is not allowed to, like you're not allowed to be intimate with a mother or with a sister or a sister's sister or your wife's sister, anything like that. And this is not mentioned. Even though the sin of having an accidental emission, the person has a flow, a vital flow of semen accidentally, it's a very terrible thing. Why? Gadol Avayna, it says here, page 124. The sin is a very great terrible negative thing. Why? Because godless ribui hatuma, it creates a tremendous amount of impurity and klippa. Shemoili dumarbe b'ma'oid ma'oid, in tremendous amount. V'hitzah zer levatolo. Yoiser mabiyas asuris, even more than adultery, even more than having a forbidden relationship. Why is that? Rak. The difference is a difference between them, because Babiya, page 125, Babiya Sasuris, when a person has an extramarital affair, like they say, has a love affair with somebody, then it's not allowed. It's a crime. It's one of the 10 commandments. Do not commit adultery. When a person commits adultery, he adds strength and energy to klippa, the impure klippas. V'yesher ad she'en yochel lahales misham hachayis b'tshuva, to the extent that he can't redeem it. Ela in kain, unless he does the kind of tshuva we're talking about, Elohim Cain, page 125. Yaseh tshuva me'ahava. He does this deep tshuva out of love of God. He just wants to be only connected with good. He's not thinking about any other agenda. He has no other ulterior motive. He only wants to be connected with good, like that story I told you about Alon Anava, who woke up from his drugged state and had a near-death experience and was judged in heaven and said, yes, I want to be alive, I want to live. And they said, well, then you have to promise, like just on page 1 of the Tanya, to be good and not to be bad. And he did. He changed his life. And we had a girl, she sat right there where Cheryl sits now. She just got married 2 years ago. She sat there and she said her brother had the same experience where he had some infection and they were doing some procedure and he saw his soul leaving his body. And he had a whole long experience. His whole life passed before him. And every single thing he did was judged. Good things he was told was good. Things that were not good, he was told that was not good. Nothing was, they didn't say it was bad. That was not good, not a good thing to do. And then he was judged and he made a decision to come back to life. And he's a brilliant young man. He lives in Morristown now. Okay. Elohim Cain Yaseh tshuva me'ava. So the only way if a person goes beyond the red line into realms where the Torah tells us not to go, the only way to fix it is by doing this tremendous, intense tshuva. Like Anava described it, he was physically held in the darkness. Physically, he couldn't move because the darkness was heavy upon him. And he saw a light in the distance and he focused on the light. He just focused on it, focused until he was able to merge in the light. And they said, well, where do you want to stay, here or there? But it was a no-brainer. So that's called such an intense tshuva. It's called tshuva of love. And that will transfer here. This is amazing. That will transform negative things to good. And then we get this, remember, look, what does this mean? You have no past. It transforms the past into positive, into future. And that's absolutely amazing. We have the power to transform them. You can't change the past. Oh, yes, you can. You can change the past. Okay, I'm not going to go into this note, the Kabbalistic note, explaining why that is. Basically, it means because wasteful emission of semen is missing a female element. There's no receiver of it. There's no partner. So that changes the whole equation. And that's why you can do tshuva. You can do tshuva and transform bad to good on adultery, because there's a woman involved. It's another partner, it's a physical partner. Whereas in just a flow, a wasteful flow of semen, there's no partner. So therefore, it's a completely different category. What does it say? How does it conclude? Just the power and forces of the vitality. Says there's no, in the bottom of page 125, there's no female element of the klippa, just the power and the forces of the klippa encompass the energy, the vitality, the life that's in the semen, as is known by people who know Kabbalah. Page 126, we're going to finish the chapter. Okay. Now we can understand what our sages taught us in the Talmud. What kind of a transgression What is a transgression that we cannot fix? If a person has a relationship, an adulterous relationship, or a brother has a relationship with a sister, which is forbidden, a forbidden relationship, and they have a child, that child is called a mamzer. Okay. So if a person does this and he has a mamzer, it says in the Talmud in Chagiga, page 9, Chagiga, that a person can't do tshuva. Why can't he do tshuva on it? Because it's a baby. It was a child that was born. You can't take the child out of the world. Then, even if he will do such a tremendous tshuva out of great love, he can no longer redeem the life that was brought into the world through his thoughtless behavior. He cannot redeem it because now it became part of the physical world, and it's embodied in a human being of flesh and blood. It came down to this world, and this energy now is embodied in a person. So therefore, this is something that even tshuva with Abba cannot fix. That's what it says in the Talmud.
Even for the child?
What?
Even for the child?
The child is a child. What do you mean, even for the child?
I don't know.
Your tshuva cannot fix the child. What are you going to do with the child?
Yeah, but what happened with the child?
What happens with the child?
Yes.
The child has to go to cheder and he has to learn Torah and do mitzvahs. And it says that a mamzer, this child, if he becomes a Torah scholar, can be even better than a kohen gadol. The doors are not closed to him. But the tshuva, the person can't do tshuva on it because the child is still alive. There's an extraordinary story that was connected with the Mittler Rebbe. This is really extraordinary and completely unique, where somebody who was in a powerful position became a very, very big sinner and was filled with desire to do tshuva and did tshuva, but he had a non-Jewish wife and he had non-Jewish children. What could he do about it? And he fell ill. He could not go on with his life because he was so deeply distressed over the sins that he had done, which had left a physical reality, a new physical reality, his wife and his children. And he fell ill unto dying. He fell ill, he was dying, and it really did not look good. He had such deep sorrow and regret. And then they told the Rebbe, the Mittler Rebbe, they told him terrible news. There was an accident that I forget what the accident was. So I'm not going to make it up. But there was an accident in the house, and the wife and the children were killed. And they didn't know what to do. Should they tell him, not tell him? If they tell him the news, it might kill him. The Mittler Rebbe said, on the contrary, let him know. Tell him. And he didn't do it. It wasn't consciously something that he wanted to have done. But his tshuva was so intense that he actually took the wife and children the wife and children died, passed out of the world. It redeemed the life from them. And with that, we conclude chapter 7. We were in chapter 8. What happened to chapter 8? Oh no. Okay, we're gonna have to go back. Next week, we will go back and finish chapter 8. Oh, yeah, chapter 8, yeah. Chapter 7 concludes the whole discussion of tshuva. Correct. Okay, we'll finish this up next week. When you come back Wednesday, we're going to finish chapter 8. Thank you very much. Have an inspiring vacation.
Thank you.
We never take a vacation from Torah. And I'll look forward to your coming back. I'll miss you all.
Thank you. We'll miss you too. We'll miss you too. Can I get the link for the
So this Thursday is Tu B'Shvat, 15th of Shvat, when the trees get their blessing, the sap starts to run in Eretz Yisrael, and the trees, they get their blessing for the year to come, for their growth and for their fruits. It should be good, sweet fruits. So similarly, we have to learn a lesson from this. We are compared to trees. People are like trees. The Torah says is a person, a tree in the field. That's a question, meaning there's something in it. So our roots hold us strong. What are our roots? Our roots are emunah, our belief in God, our faith. And the trunk of the tree is the measure of our growth in terms of Torah and mitzvahs. A tree trunk grows every year, adds another ring, right? Yeah, you cut down and you see the ears of the tree are reflected in the rings in the trunk. And the branches provide the tree with leaves, which is transferred with into energy, photosynthesis for the tree. And in trees that are blessed, we have the fruits. The fruits represent, if the trunk of the tree represents the mitzvahs that the person does, what does the fruit represent? The fruit represents the mitzvahs that we do that are sweet. Other people benefit from mitzvahs that warm the heart of others. Mitzvahs of love and compassion. Those are the fruits. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Love.
So on Shvat, we try to eat different kinds of fruits. Some people 15 different kinds of fruits. Some good fruits. There are all kinds of weird fruits in the fruit store.
After the break, I leave.
You're leaving?
Yeah.
Have a safe trip. And it should be not a break, it should be a continuation.
Amen. Thank you so much for everything.
Send your friends.
Same here, Rabbi. I'm leaving today.
You're leaving today?
Yes.
Also, you should also have a safe trip.
Thank you.
And regards to your family.
Thank you so much for everything.
You should be inspiring to them that they should have new interest in growing themselves.
Okay. Sorry, you're welcome. Why did it? I'm not ready to let you go yet. Me? Why would you let me go? Like you're not leaving. I'm not, yeah. Oh, and then it's gonna be open. Are you going to go by? I'm meeting at 10 from school. So Like, oh, that is it. You go like that? No, thank you. Will you come back after practice? After leaving or
I
no?
think not to school.
Not to school, okay.
Do you need to?
Yes.
That is.
Yes.
My bag.
Yes, it's a small, it's like this long. It's in my, okay, I'll write it, I will text you, so that's in a specific place. Aww.
No.
That's no problem.
My